Hey, what's up? It's Scotty Young. Thanks for checking out the channel. We are going to, not we, me. Today, I'm going to be drawing a daily sketch of Leatherface to get in the mood for Halloween and talking about working for free and getting paid with exposure. Don't fall for it. Let's go watch. Bye. Today, we're going to be talking about doing free work for exposure. If you're any sort of artist of any kind, musician, painter, writer, cartoonist, designer, fill in the blanker, you have probably heard this offer before. Hey, we're looking for a cover we got a Kickstarter going on and we'd like an extra cover. We don't have money, but you'll get a lot of exposure. We have X amount of followers on our Instagram. Our Patreon has blah, 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 blah. This offer has come out. These kind of offers have been going on probably since people have been paying for art. I know I've been a professional artist for over 20 years now, and I have heard this a lot in my career. Can you do some work for me for free and I will pay you in the almighty exposure? I think this is a no-go. This is a hard pass 100% of the time for me. I will preface all this with saying I do not write the rules. I am not the lawmaker. I don't think that anything that I think is a hard and fast rule that you have to follow. I am only sharing my experiences and my thoughts on being an artist for a living. My general thought is if a company cannot afford to pay me and they tell me that instead of pay, they will give me exposure, they probably do not have the reach to expose me to that many people. If they did, they could afford to pay me. I chose to be an artist for a living, a freelance artist. So while, yes, creating art comes from a very creative place and an emotional place and all of that, I also is the way that I pay my bills. It's also the way that I feed my kids and take care of my family. I can't do any of that with exposure. I can only do it with money. So keeping money in mind, let's talk about the working for free part. My general rule of thumb is if you're going to work for somebody for free, then work for yourself for free. If you're going to put in the time, why not you reap all the rewards from it at the end? So many times, it's tempting to go out there and do the work for somebody else because they've asked and it makes us feel good and it makes us feel like, oh my gosh, people are seeing my stuff and that I get all that. But this is hard work and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time we put into it. And if it's going to be for free, it might as well be yours at the end of the day. There really is no fast lane. No company or publisher or magazine or YouTube channel or blog can give us so much exposure that we're going to skip the line and get better overnight and have all the fans and followers that we want to have a successful creative business. There's no fast lane. It's just really, it comes down to, are you doing the work? Are you putting in the time to promote your own work? And then are you repeating that every day and growing your audience? That's really it. Like you might get lucky with a piece. You might get lucky with a video and all of a sudden it takes off faster than you thought. But there's no shortcut to that. There's no magic blog out there. There's no magic channel that's going to expose you so much that, you're going to skip a year or skip 6 months into the future and all of a sudden have way more quote unquote exposure. That's going to bring me to contests. Contests are another version of the work for free for exposure situation. I don't like contests. Again, I'm going to go back and say I'm not the rule maker. These aren't hard, fast rules. I'm not going to judge you if you do them. I'm saying that I don't like the idea of contests because it makes people spend a lot of time doing work. And I'm putting work in air quotes. You're creating something to be featured on something for free. And at the end of the day, you're not getting paid. And a lot of times you're alongside a bunch of other people who aren't getting paid and you're kind of pitted against each other in a weird competition situation, which I never find healthy when it comes to creativity. I don't like to feel like this is against or somebody's going to win or lose. Like, that's not creative to me. That's not enjoyable to me. So contests for me, they're just, again, they're a hard pass. It's something that I feel like if you're going to sit down at your table and you're going to draw or you're going to write or you're going to do whatever, then have it be for something. If after the fact you want to enter that stuff into something, that's fine, but make things for things. Create your work, create paintings, create a series, create whatever. If afterwards that stuff's laying around, okay, fine, like go do it something. It's the thing that says there's a contest, therefore I'm going to go create something for the sake of this contest and see if I will win. And usually what you win, again, is a feature somewhere. You're getting exposed, and that's the almighty carrot that's being stung, out in front of us to keep on galloping forward. But the thing is that is an age-old thing. The saying is the donkey never gets the carrot, right? It never does it. It's on a stick and it's a string, and you're going to chase it forever. The other kind of contest that I would say try to avoid is the bake-off. Hey guys, we got a new comic coming out, or we got a Kickstarter, but we don't have a logo or whatever. Hey, everybody design us a logo, and the one that we like the best we'll pick, and it will be our logo, and it'll give you exposure, right? That to me is crazy. Like, if they want a logo, people should go through the process of hiring a designer and having them do multiple thumbnails and sketches and going through and choosing and changing and editing and go through the process. There's very, very talented people out there that are professionals at this. They shouldn't have people doing bake-offs where you win by them having a nice, awesome logo and you having exposure to put in your bank account. Again, all of this comes down to value and self-worth, which I think is very important for those of us who have chosen to be artists as our profession and put ourselves out there and put our work out there and try to get paid for it and be a professional. This is about being a professional, right? So I'll tell a little story about self-worth and value that I learned almost 20 years ago. I got asked to do a book from somebody who had done some indie books and had some fairly good success at these indie books, and asked me to do the book at a very low, a comic book at a very low page rate. At the time, I waited tables. I was still waiting tables at Ed DeBevick's in downtown Chicago. So anybody asking me to draw a comic book at this time was a big deal. It was like, oh my gosh, I still hadn't, really broken in yet. And when I got asked to do this comic, it was at such a low page rate. It actually was it was less money than I made at the restaurant waiting tables. So I lived in Chicago and we paid rent and it was expensive and we barely were making it anyway. And somebody wanted me to come along and work on a full comic series that's very difficult to do and takes, at that time especially, I was still learning how to do this. So pages took me all day. I mean, these were 12, 13-hour days back then, when I was in my early 20s on how to do this. And so on one hand, I was very excited to be offered a comic book job, but I also understood the value of my time even at that young age. So I was able to not give in to the excitement and pride that I had and that somebody really liked my work enough to pay me to make comics, but I had to keep my focus on what was important in my time. When my time was at that point with that low rate, it was better spent waiting tables at the time. So I did make that choice. I did turn that down. That ended up being the right decision for not only the reasons that I said, which is, I needed to pay my bills and waiting tables did that better, but it also, because I valued myself at that time and valued my time more at that time, it turned that down and it opened my schedule for months later when Marvel called and gave me my first job. I made a choice that seemed like a weird choice at the time because somebody was offering me the job to do what I said I wanted to do, and I hadn't done it yet, but I still had to turn it down because I had to actually make the choice of valuing my time, not trading in my time for exposure. And because of that, my schedule was open. That when the right opportunity came and the right money came along, I was able to say yes and start my career at Marvel, which has led to everything that I've done since, whether it's animation, or, finally jumping out into image and doing my creator own books and all the covers and everything. So that choice back then led to now. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to tell you, value yourself, value your time. Don't believe that anybody's exposure is worth you doing work for free. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Go over to scottyyoung.com. We've got books and prints and stickers and original art and all the good stuff over there if you want to pick some stuff up. And I will see you guys next time.